Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the idea of assertive communication. If you look at this chart right here, you see that there's an overlap between your own needs and the needs of others. If you only focus on the needs of others, it can become very passive communication. But if you only think about your own needs and become too critical of others, it can come across as aggressive. Assertive communication is where you can blend standing up for your own needs while still being mindful of other people's needs. Another word for assertive communication can be perceptual language. And the reason it's called perceptual language is that you talk about what you perceive rather than asserting what is. So, in other words, when talking about how to resolve conflicts, it's very important to try and frame your problems from your own perspective. Talk about your own feelings. Don't necessarily resort to criticizing the behavior of someone else, but instead consider how that behavior makes you feel, because that's something that's more hard to argue with, and it's something that people are more willing to adjust their behavior for. Let's look at an example. So we have these two folks right here, lovely stick figures. One of them says, "Stop disrespecting me." Now, how do you think the other person would respond to this kind of statement? Yep, he is not happy. "I'm not being disrespectful, butt face." So when he starts by saying, "Stop disrespecting me," he's asserting what is. He's not sharing his own perception. He's not sharing his own feelings. He's making a harsh judgment about someone else. So naturally, that person is very likely to become angry and defensive. It's likely to escalate the situation. However, let's try a different scenario. "I feel disrespected right now." I'm sorry about that. It's not always perfect. Not everybody's going to be so contrite. However, by asserting the situation from the perspective of his own feelings, it's not something that's really up for argument. It's not something that needs to be defended against, unlike the statement, "Stop disrespecting me." Let's look at another example. This guy over here talks to his other group of people and he says, "You are excluding me." How would they like to respond to that? Yeah, some responses might come up as, "No, we're not excluding you, shut up." Or maybe if you want more colorful language, "Well, fine, go yourself." Instead, what if he said, "It seems like I'm being excluded. Sorry about that. Would you like to join us?" It can be a lot more helpful in conflict resolution to frame your statements of the problem as "I feel," "It seems like," "It sounds like." For example, "I feel like you've been a little bit distant lately. It seems like you're having trouble coming to class on time. It sounds like we are not agreeing right now. What can we do to find a resolution here?" By framing the problem with respect to your own perceptions and your own feelings, it makes the other person a lot less angry and a lot less defensive. It's more likely to bring the temperature of the argument down. So, when it comes to what others might say perceptual language or assertive communication, some people might call it nonviolent communication, one of the gold standards is the I statement. The I statement is a lot more useful than the you statement when trying to resolve a disagreement. A you statement is very likely to, as I said, invite defensiveness. The other person will feel attacked. It emphasizes blame and it promotes argument. It raises the tension in the conflict resolution because you're putting the burden completely on the other person and you're forcing them to answer to assertions that might not necessarily be true. And even if they are true, how does that relate to you? This is why I statements are so important, because it's not just about the problem itself, but it's about the two people that are trying to resolve the conflict. And an I statement, by stating your own feelings and your own perceptions of the situation, you invite problem solving and you emphasize the impact you have on others and the result and the impact that others have on you. It's far more likely to promote a solution, and it's far more likely to not invite harsh judgment or anger. So here's an example of a basic I statement. I feel blah blah when you blah blah, because blah 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 blah. What I need is blah 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 blah. It's a four-part statement that can very easily spell out the problem from your own perception and try to invite a particular solution. Here is an example. A friend always cancels plans at the last minute. Recently, you were waiting for them at a restaurant when they called to say they couldn't make it. So pause the video and think of a I statement that you can make in response to this problem. Okay, you thought of your response? Let's compare. I feel upset when you cancel plans at the last minute because I feel like you don't value me as a friend. I would appreciate if you texted me in advance when you need to cancel plans. So, basic I statement, there's a feeling, there's a situation, there's a reasoning behind the feeling, and there's a proposed solution. This can lead to a lot more productive disagreements between colleagues, between family members, between students. It's very, very applicable in many different social situations. Okay, I hope that you found this useful or interesting, and I look forward to discussing it with you further in class. So until next time, cheers! I feel happy when you complete the video assignments because it allows us to have a much more prepared and in-depth discussion and more exciting class period. What I need is for you to continue the great work. Thank you.